Digital ID and Justin Trudeau's evil plan to sell your health information to Klaus Schwab. Hi, I'm Brian Lilley, political columnist with the Toronto Sun. Jamil Javani, fellow columnist at the Sun, joining me now. Jamil, it's amazing how conspiracy theories go. You can take one little piece of information like the Premier's meeting with the PM and the PM saying, you know what, we need to share health data. And suddenly that turns into Justin Trudeau is going to bring in a digital health ID and he's going to sell your personal information to Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum.
Yeah, I got to be honest, Brian, until I read your column in the Sun this morning, I had no idea that this had grown into this conversation online. I followed the news story closely that the premiers and the prime minister were going to be negotiating federal health transfers. Obviously, it's a very important issue for Canadians right now. I know they had their meeting. I thought the meeting was over, and then we had sort of moved on to what's coming next in terms of healthcare policy. Then I saw in the Toronto Sun this morning that you're drawing attention to this conspiracy theory that's grown, and from what I read, originated with a single TikTok video.
Well, so what I started to get, and I saw that some politicians were CC'd on this email, and you've now had Scott Moe, Premier of Saskatchewan, and Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, have to put out statements saying, this isn't true. The federal government did not ask for your health data. But I was getting emails saying, why is this an American news and it's not in ours? And it's to a conservative website in the States that I used to think was fairly decent, it was on the fringes, but always had interesting stories. They were claiming that the tyrant Trudeau had told premiers, if you don't agree to this digital health ID, that you won't get any healthcare funding, and citizens that don't agree with the digital health ID won't get access to a hospital or doctor, and you won't get a bank account either. And I thought, what's this based on? It was a single TikTok user. So yeah, did the premiers and the PM talk about sharing health data? Yeah, but not, as I said in my column, it's not, Jamil got a wart removed last year and he's suffering from post-nasal drip. They're not looking at that. It's, okay, Ontario had a backlog of 200,000 surgeries. What surgeries were the backlog on? Was the waiting list cleared up? How many surgeries were performed? Things like that can be useful. We don't have a lot of health data. They're not looking for your personal stuff. They're looking at the population as a whole. I get I don't know about you. You can tell me what you think. I get that people are wary about their personal private information being shared. I get concerns about tracking, but this one's really weird, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I get why people are concerned. The reality is that with vaccine mandates and passports, I think a lot of people are scared that governments are willing to kind of cross a line that maybe they didn't think governments would cross before. And I understand that fear. I see that in people that I talk to. I see that in communities across Canada. But ultimately, I think the really important point of your column, Brian, is that we need to be basing our arguments and our political debates on facts. And the truth is that, like, this was not based on a fact. If this was a genuine policy proposal or a demand from the federal government, then I think it's a debate we should be having, but it wasn't. And people need to be able to trust their sources. And this is exactly why it's, media outlets, whether they're fringe, mainstream, in the middle, whatever it might be, have got to be very careful about what they're putting out there, because people are getting upset, they're getting outraged, they're getting anxious and worried, all for something that, as you said, can be traced back to a TikTok account, not based on credible reporting.
Yeah, I ended up speaking to people from multiple provinces who were either in the room or watching the meeting on video conference in Ottawa, the people with the various provincial teams. They all said this was never even discussed. Premier Ford said in a statement, never raised, and both Moe and Ford said, we're not going to do it. So unfortunately, people are very skeptical, and you're right, because of what happened during COVID and vaccine passports and things like that. I get the skepticism, but you're right. We've got to check our facts before we all go off madly in all directions.
Yeah, and I know a lot of our readers, our viewers, care a lot about this country. They care about, wanting to make sure that our freedoms and our rights are protected, that, the tradition of the rule of law and individuality is upheld. But we're not going to do that effectively if we're not working with the right information. And I think, to me, that's what I hope the biggest takeaway for people who have been concerned about this is: make sure that you've got the right information, make sure you're operating on facts, because if you want to make a difference on the issues you're passionate about, you've got to be working with the right data.
All right, Jamil, thanks so much. We'll put it to the audience. Let us know what you think. I'm already hearing some people screaming at me that I'm wrong, but drop a comment down below, share this on social media, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.